Hey, good morning. It is a bit chilly outside. We got some snow, but I got a package from the team at Forth to Home. So let's see what they sent. Look at that. That's a pretty cool beanie. Got some stickers, but more importantly, lots of hardwood. So got some projects coming up. Stay tuned to see what we'll make with all of this stuff. So they sent a couple cutting board kits, so I'll be gluing these up, and then some 1x6 by 60-inch pieces of ash, hard maple, and cherry. First I'll work on a kit with maple and cherry. Now the edges have already been run through a joiner, but I like to double check just to make sure. Their products make it easy if you have a small shop or don't quite have all the tools yet, or just saves you time if you don't like doing all the milling steps. I grab a couple of my Bessie bar clamps off the wall and get ready to glue this up. And I'll go with Titebond's No. 3 glue for this. With everything lined up and sitting flat, we can crank down the clamps and let it dry. Then back over the mini canoe, I used a utility knife to cut off the drips from that last coat of epoxy. And then with my respirator on, I start to sand this down for a smooth finish and to get out any imperfections. This will also help the coats of varnish to adhere properly. With all the inner and outer holes sanded, I can back up all that dust and get a clean work surface. Next, I work on fitting the gunnels that I milled up last week on the table saw. Using the chisel, I slowly pared away the excess material and then finished that up with my little mini hand plane. With the first end ready, I clamp this into place so I can work on fitting the other end. With some marks made, I grab my little Japanese flush cut saw and cut those pieces off. Then using the mini hand plane, I finalized the fitment. Instead of using epoxy, again I'm using Starbond CA glue to attach this, mainly so I don't have to worry about drips and runs as the epoxy would have to dry. And using the accelerator, I can get a lot of this installed pretty quickly. I started in the middle and clamped that and then worked out each edge, getting those locked into place. With the starboard inner gunnel in place, I repeated the same process for the port inner gunnel as well. The outer gunnel is a little easier as it just needs to match up with the top edge of that inner that's already in place, and using the same glue and clamp methods. I left the first outer gunnel run long past the ends and then trimmed the other outer gunnel to fit up to that. Then I used the mini hand plane to make the top edges of both the inner and outer gunwales flush. I used some small strips of poplar and cedar to create the piece I'll use for the bulkheads. I didn't realize the battery in the GoPro had died, so I missed the steps of running it through the drum sander. I slowly sanded away material to make these fit up into the stems of the canoe, and then again with the CA glue to hold into place. To finish the day, I worked on the deck plates to go over the bulkhead and to enclose the stem. Again, this is a little piece of poplar that matches exactly what was on the full-size canoe. I cut, hand planed, and sanded, then glued into place. If you look closely, you can see that I engraved the name Irma, just like I had applied on the full-size canoe. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. Don't forget to help me out by hitting that like button, sharing with friends, and if you're not already, subscribe as well. Thank you.